Why Democrats must stand firm. A short-term government funding lapse over ICE could finally force real change, and essential help like food assistance stays safe. Listen up. Everyone, we're staring down a critical moment right now in Washington. And it's time to talk straight about what's really going on. As of late January 2026, Congress is locked in a fierce standoff over funding the federal government. The deadline is looming. Funding for key parts of the government runs out at the end of this week, and Democrats are drawing a hard line. No more blank checks for immigration and customs enforcement, ICE, without serious reforms. This comes after yet another tragic incident where federal agents shot and killed a U.S. citizen, Alex Preddy, in Minneapolis. People are outraged, and rightfully so. Democrats in the Senate, led by figures like Chuck Schumer, are saying enough is enough. They won't vote to keep pouring money into an agency that's out of control unless real guardrails are put in place. Let me explain this clearly so you understand exactly what's at stake. The federal government gets funded through annual appropriations bills. Congress has to pass 12 of them each year to keep things running. Right now, several big ones are on the table, covering departments like Defense, Education, Transportation, and Homeland Security, which oversees ICE. Most of the government has already been funded for the full fiscal year through other bills that passed earlier. But these remaining bills account for a huge chunk of discretionary spending. If no deal is reached by the deadline, we get a partial government shutdown. That means non-essential operations in those unfunded agencies pause. Federal workers in those areas might get furloughed, sent home without pay temporarily. National parks could close in some spots, some offices shut down, and routine services slow. But here's the key part that everyone needs to hear loud and clear. Mandatory spending programs, the big safety nets that millions rely on every day, are not affected. Things like Social Security checks, Medicare and Medicaid health care for the elderly, disabled, and low-income families, and SNAP food assistance, what used to be called food stamps, keep flowing because they're funded automatically through separate laws, not these annual bills. SNAP benefits are already obligated and will continue without interruption in this scenario. No one loses their food aid. No one gets denied medical care because of this fight. That's a huge difference from past shutdowns where everything felt chaotic. Now, compare this to what happened under previous administrations. Those long, dragged-out shutdowns like the 35-day one in 2018 to 2019 over a border wall were unnecessary political theater that hurt everyday workers, closed parks, delayed paychecks, and disrupted lives for no good reason. This potential lapse is targeted and short-term at worst. It's not about shutting everything down for show. It's about holding an agency accountable that's been documented time and again for overreach, mistreatment in detention centers, family separations that scar kids for life, inadequate medical care leading to preventable deaths, and aggressive tactics that put entire communities on edge. Reports from civil rights groups, medical experts, and even some internal reviews paint a picture of an organization that's lost its way using taxpayer dollars to fund operations that terrorize rather than protect. Think about it plainly. Why are we, the people paying the taxes, forced to bankroll an agency that's repeatedly been linked to harming American citizens and longtime residents? In recent weeks alone, federal agents have flooded cities like Minneapolis, turning neighborhoods into zones of fear. A man is dead shot by those same agents, and the response from leadership has been inadequate at best. ICE was handed a massive windfall last year through a major Republican-backed bill, billions extra on top of its regular budget, so even in a partial shutdown, their core operations, detentions, deportations, would likely keep humming along with that leftover money. Customs and border protection at the actual border stays funded too. The sky won't fall on border security. This is where Democrats have real power to make a difference. By refusing to pass the current Homeland Security funding bill, which includes about $10 billion for ICE without the tough reforms needed, they're forcing the conversation we've needed for years. We don't want chaos, we want change. Real reforms like requiring warrants for arrests inside communities, better de-escalation training, mandatory identification for agents, limits on interior raids, and stronger oversight to stop abuses. Better yet, it's time to seriously consider dismantling ICE in its current form and replacing it with something humane and focused, targeting actual serious criminals and traffickers, not ripping apart families or terrorizing hardworking people who have built lives here. Redirect those billions to what actually builds safer communities, more community policing, mental health support, legal pathways for immigrants, education, job programs. Our streets should feel safe for everyone, black, brown, white, immigrant, citizen alike. Not like a war zone because of federal overreach. This standoff isn't Democrats being reckless. It's them finally saying no to business as usual when that business is broken and dangerous. Critics will scream that this risks everything, but let's be honest. A short funding lapse hurts far less than continuing to fund harm. Federal workers in affected areas usually get back pay once resolved. Essential functions, air traffic, law enforcement, keep going. And history proves short disruptions have limited long-term damage compared to endless unchecked power. This is about protecting our people, all of us. Democrats, hold the line. Don't cave. Stand with the communities demanding accountability. Push for ICE to be reformed, restructured, or replaced entirely. We deserve better than this. If you also support democracy and freedom, feel free to join me in this fight. Click follow, click subscribe, and join me. Divided we fall, and together we can knock down mountains. Through unity is the only way we can make a change. I speak the truth. I share a bit of history. I share what is happening. I try to keep everyone updated with what is going on. I used to write for News Brack, but then I went on my own so that I can speak the truth and warn people freely without rules, because you deserve the truth. I do not consider myself independent news. I am just a truth speaker with a mix of everything. I also share about God. I appreciate your time. I do consider myself independent in the fact that no one controls my narrative. I will not say what everyone else wants to hear. That is not why I created this movement. It is either the truth or nothing. Thank you, stay safe, God bless, I love you all. Crowning Thoughts, True Speaker, copyright 2025 by Santiago D.C. Maria, licensed under Creative Commons Attribution.